So welcome back. I think you've all had a good appetite with snacks and tea. It smells still here. I think we're going to go back to it later on. But, so here we are in the second part of the program. I talked about evolution of life, right? How long does it take? Do you know it? Evolution of life? 9 months, yeah, that's absolutely correct. Full marks, you all knew it, so glad. So here's a story with a little twist. And the story is 9 weeks and 1 day. And the performer is Abha Day.
Deep inside my precious yoni rests a story that I call 9 weeks and 1 day. Over dinner one night, a friend broke this news to me that she was late for her period by 4 weeks. "I'm pregnant," she beamed. Holding hands with her new husband, she couldn't stop glowing. Driving back from her house after dinner that night, my mind was racing. This is huge. Is she really ready? But it was obvious she and her husband were definitely ready. In the weeks that followed, I had trouble coming to terms with the fact that my friend was entering motherhood. I felt nowhere near ready to be a mother. I felt immature, somewhat behind the curve. All of a sudden, I was reflecting if there was something wrong with me as I was not married, and wasn't sure if I ever wanted children or marriage. I am 33. This thought would be followed by a thorough lecture to myself as to how there was nothing called being behind, that these very feelings led women, especially South Asian women, to believe that we were supposed to be married and have babies by a certain age. Feelings that I despised and spent my life rebelling against. Besides, I felt it was her pregnancy, her life step. It had nothing to do with me, and I shouldn't be making it about myself. If I wasn't ready, I wasn't ready. I was happy with my life the way it was. My job now was to support her. 4 weeks and 4 days after dinner that night at her house, I realized that I, myself, was late for my period. On a whim, I went to the drugstore and bought a home pregnancy test. On my way back, I felt stupid for buying that test. How could I be pregnant? I had been careful, hadn't I? It didn't make any sense. My friend's experience was clearly affecting my thinking. The test sat in my purse for over 2 hours. I almost forgot about it. I finally decided to get it over with during a commercial break of The Good Wife. I ripped open the package, beat on the stick, and went back to the TV. After a few minutes, I walked back to the bathroom, still chuckling to myself as to how paranoid I was and how I wasted my money. Shock, horror, and despair do not begin to describe the feelings that overcame my body when I saw the plus sign in the results window. My body shaking, the world literally spinning all around me. I called my partner in tears. 2 weeks and 2 days later, I was sitting in a clinic waiting for my name to be called so that I could go in and terminate my pregnancy. Terminate my pregnancy like a terminator. It felt so clinical and sterile. It's an unemotional phrase void of all depth or feeling, expertly failing to describe the pain, confusion, fear that surrounded the entire process for me. It felt so unnatural and so unreal. I constantly questioned my womanhood for choosing to end a pregnancy. The supposed miracle of life, the supposed purpose women exist. It felt, and it still feels, a very un-South Asian way to feel. This is not the mold we are taught to form as women. We are supposed to be sacrificing and nurturing. Yet, here I was, sitting in this clinic, 7 weeks and 3 days pregnant, waiting to terminate my pregnancy. I couldn't help but think about my friend who was in the same position as I was. But she was so happy. I was far from it. My yoni and I felt very alone, confused, guilty, and scared. I felt like less of a woman. I felt like a murderer. But I also felt relieved. Yes, I felt relieved and thankful that I had options. It was hard to admit it then, and it's still hard to admit it now. A close friend told me to be thankful and appreciate the women who fought to make the choice available. But my guilt prevented me from feeling gracious. Lucky is not a word I would have chosen to describe my situation at the time. Yet looking back, I feel I definitely was. You see, all my life, I have fought in my own way to define what it is to be a woman, a feisty woman, a strong woman, a progressive woman, a compassionate woman, a seductive woman, a sexy woman, a rebellious woman, a loving and lovable woman, a generous woman, a creative woman, and a happy woman. But to be any of these, I need choice and power. The choice and power to make my choices and decisions without any judgment, fear, or oppression. Only then can I fully feel like a woman. That is the true essence of womanhood to me. And perhaps that is why I can stand in front of you today and say that despite the fact that I could have had a baby and I chose not to, I am just as much a woman. W-O-M-A-N.
Pain and pleasure are two parts of the same coin, correct? But do we romanticize pain? Sometimes, and Ulka is going to tell us how.
Hi, I'm Uma, and I'm very happy today. You know what I'm done with? Yes, cut off after 12 years. I just had a divorce today. Hi, hello. Who's calling? Look here. Ah, my yoni, my vagina. Why your inner voice sounds different? Well, you are used to listening to your heart, but your heart is broken. This is your yoni. And while you may have forgotten, this is your smooth, silky, sensuous, ooh la la. And it's all going to be different and lot better. So cheer up. I know it's looking pretty bleak at this moment, but rest assured, soon you will be able to savor the simple joys again, like taste of summer, getting drenched in rain, endless cups of chai with your friends, watching films back to back, smiling at the strangers. Basically, the entire universe and its limitless wonders. So cheer up, it's all going to be just fine. Who cares about that marriage that never had any romance in it? That creep had nerve to say that I look fat. Do I look fat? Yes. You got to be kidding me. You did a job and all the housework all alone, and you are always up to date, well dressed, with sunny disposition. When was the last time he smiled at you lovingly and showed some appreciation? The more you did, the more he took you for granted. Where was the tenderness in the relationship? So, you had one too many donuts. So what? Living with and taking care of that? Huh? Good for nothing? Who would not need the comfort food? You say you put a lot in this marriage for it to end this way, but I say you put up a lot in this marriage for it to continue this way. Then why so sad? All right. Given you like films, let's look at it in a filmy way. Let's say we make a movie on your life. Do you think it would focus on this part of your life? Of course not. I admit, it would be cool to have camera linger on you with a heavy violin in the background as you choke with emotions, as you sign the divorce paper. But the fact this movement was to choose freedom over a loveless marriage, audience will surely fail to connect. Then what would be the film about? The film would be about what happened afterwards. How even a period as long as 12 years failed to create a bitter person. How even despicable behavior and disrespect failed to rob a person of her decency. How an utterly empty relationship failed to rob a person of her optimism. How she remained forever romantic, full of love, who fell in love again. तो पिक्चर अभी बाकी है मेरे दोस्त. It's just a beginning. It's up to you what you make of these infinite possibilities that this wonderful life can offer. And while I'm being sincere, it sounds a little bit selfish. Well, I am selfish. There will be no action in my life if you don't fall in love again. See, at least you are smiling. We yonis are so underrated. You should listen to us more often. You will be happier, literally.
So everyone is really happy. I'm so glad. And you know, since red is our color today, have you all heard of? Do you like pink? Do you like pink? Have you? Some of you have you gotten pink slips? I hope not. No, we're not going to discuss pink slips. But our story next is pink slips, and the performer is Sugandhi Iyer.
March of 2015. I remember like it was yesterday. The whole month I was constantly constipated, irritable, for some reason a lot of pain in both my breasts. It was not the typical soreness that follows my crimson tide. It was more like a slight, quiet, but seemingly permanent feeling of discomfort, like little rocks in your socks, you know. So, reluctantly, I made an appointment with my doctor. I needed to ask him and perhaps get a little bit of, complain a little bit, get a little bit of sympathy. There was a lot going on in my life beyond this irritable physical symptoms. My dad was just diagnosed with 4th stage cancer. Those were some tough times. I met with my doctor. He listened, he checked me up thoroughly. And he gave me something I did not expect. In a time of falling economies and abandoned layoffs, I got my own pink slip. I know what you're thinking. Of course, I didn't lose my job. This pink slip had a frightening order written on it, on the top. Breast Health Center, it said. I was supposed to report to a lab and get a mammogram of both my breasts. I thought life was dealing me a bad hand at that point. I'd never gotten a breast exam done before. But I do remember in my 20s when my mom forwarded me this email with cartoons joking about mammograms, how they turn your breast into pancakes. But I completely dismissed it then. I didn't think I needed to get a breast exam until I turned 40. During the days up until my appointment, I didn't do any kind of research. I definitely did not want to acknowledge mammogram being one of the forms of early detection of breast cancer. The day of my appointment came. I cursed myself for being so willingly ignorant. With knots in my stomach, I entered the BHC. That's the Breast Health Center. This place looked more like Vegas. Girls, girls, girls everywhere. Of course, it wasn't loud like Vegas. There were no jangling of the slot machines. Instead, this place was pretty quiet, imbued with soft lights, magazines scattered all over. You know those magazines with beauty advice, sex tips, pear tart recipes? You know, I quietly registered myself and nervously took a seat. I pretended like I was this busy professional looking for emails, voicemails, text messages. Of course, there were none. And of course, there were none. There was a lot of magazines, like I said. I was flipping through these magazines, waiting for my name to be called. It was pretty boring, I must say. And then my eyes caught the BHC literature. It said, breast health, breast exam, breast cancer. I picked the pamphlet, flipped through it, and dropped it quickly. Like, what's the point? Do I really need to know this? But there were so many other thoughts going through my mind. Crap, am I heading toward news that I'm not ready for? And then I heard my name called. There was this sweet old lady who was there to receive me and take me to my examination room. She was pretty swift, efficient, just like the garden fairy. I quietly followed her to the examination room. She asked me to disrobe while she was pantsing over this mammogram machine. Massive robot look-alike. Like for a moment, I thought, this is going to transform itself into a sports car or something. And then, I disrobed. I slowly approached her with both my hands crossed over my torso, literally shivering. I was afraid of getting this mammogram. She was maneuvering this mammogram machine, and she looks at me and she says, I'm going to start with your left breast. She positions the two flat plates, the two halves of the scanning bed, to my breast level. She raises my left arm way up, grabs my boobs, and positions it on this cold, flat bottom. My arm still over one of this robot's arms, like in a robot's embrace. And before I knew, she slams the top scanning bed over my breast and proceeds to flatten it. I am sensitive. It was painful. If anybody tells you differently, mammogram hurts. It hurt so bad, I had tears in my eyes. Well, the scanning was done. She was looking through the images, her eyes darting back and forth over the screen like she was looking for something. And then there she spots it. And then she looks at me and she says, I have to take some additional images of your breasts, your left breast specifically. And that's when my craziness leaves and calmness settles in. I'm paying attention. And I think, oh, this garden fairy is pretty graceful. She is in a mission. She is in a mission to leave no boobs unturned. It turns out I had calcifications in my left breast. Calcifications normally are benign, but when new ones are found, it requires that you need to take a mammogram, again, to ensure the deposits haven't changed in size. They haven't spread. Now let's move 6 months forward. I got my mammogram done again, and the calcifications remain unchanged. That means I was spared the potential chopping of my lovely lady lumps. But then it made me wonder, having this close call with cancer. Nowadays, everybody knows somebody who's gone through cancer. I've had 5 people in my family who's had cancer, and my dad is going through 4th stage cancer. People die of cancer. It's evil, it's fear, it's ignorance wrapped up in the cell, spreading like wildfire on sage. It mocks you, it messes you, it weakens you, it imprisons you, it challenges to ask you, is this what my life is all about? In a time where the world is so violent, self-destructive, narcissistic, sometimes we forget to love life, love family, love everything that our hearts and minds can grow into. I fear not the nurse, not the robot, not the pain, but I fear of losing this divine opportunity to love. I've realized that now. I'm glad I got my mammogram done. I'm learning to love my life, love everyone around me. And it's very important. Love is real. Loving oneself is absolutely important. This is my story. Thank you.
We are almost coming to an end, and this is the last 2 stories left. Menstruation. All women know it. Do you know the story of menstruation? Well, Tanvi is going to tell you so.
When I was a young girl, my father raped me. Yes, my father raped me. Not once, not twice, but many, many times. His touch both aroused and terrified me at the same time. However, with the beginning of my menstruation cycle, I started getting temporary relief from rape. I still remember when I started menstruating for the first time. My father and my sister had gone away on a trip to a basketball tournament. My mother, then pregnant, made little note of the occasion other than to emphasize the time we could spend together alone as girls during the weekend we had to ourselves. From the beginning, I came to associate menstruation with the absence of my father in my life and the presence of women. It happened when I was talking to my friend on the phone, jumping on bed. I felt completely aroused, a feeling of wetness between my legs, wanting to touch, caress, and rub myself. I told my friend, I feel something wet between my thighs, as if I had peed, but it didn't exactly feel that way. She told me it must be my period, and the story of how her sister got hers. I told her to hold the phone, and I fled to the bathroom. The stain of red, brown, and purple shocked and shamed me at the same time. Feeling the lips of my vagina growing huge and bleeding, how swollen was I? Pain griping inside of me, crawling up between my legs and around my back. My own body, with its own mind, and the things it could do to me without my controlling it. I went to my mom and told her in shame and secrecy that I think I had got my period. She just pointed me to where the pads were, and the look in her eye is one that I'll never forget. It was one of sadistic punishment and neglect and willful holding back of help and support to remind me that I'm not yet, nor would ever be, a woman, a human in her eyes. My mother began to treat me differently, my body, as if it was something that could be never talked about. There grew a hushed silence around anything related to my body. And if I tried to break that silence, I was punished. To my father, I would cease to exist. With each menstruating cycle, I would get relief from rape. It would be the end of sexual punishment and torture. The end of my father's love for my body. Except when it all began, when I was 12. With all the gentle hugging and kissing and caressing, which I mistook as my father's love and affection for me. A love which was different than that of my mom's. I was too naive. With the setting in of my teens, however, things became crystal clear. I still remember that day. I had come home early from school, hoping to find my mom at home. I missed her so much. I just wanted her to be home to embrace me, take care of me, talk to me. She was always so busy and always gone. I had even managed to convince my teacher that I was sick enough to be sent home. However, when I reached the nurse's office, I saw my father instead. Oh, how could I flee back to my classroom? Oh, couldn't the nurse read my mind? Couldn't she see my cry for help? Shaking and trembling, I sat in the car. My father asked me if I was menstruating. I kept silent. But by then, by the look in his eyes, I knew exactly what was going to happen next. When we reached home, I bent down to untie my laces, pretending that I was not scared. And then, when he was not looking, I ran upstairs towards my room. He ran after me. He chased me. More hunger in his eyes, more arousal for me. He pulled me by the tail end of my long braided hair and forcefully pulled me into his arms. And then what? The beating and the rape and the sucking and the fucking started all over again, exhausting me into oblivion and trance. Each time I menstruate, I celebrate giving thanks to God, remembering the absence of my father in my life, celebrating the end of rape, the end of abuse, watching my body growing and my breasts filling up. Yet, I desperately want to be a girl again, a woman with someone wanting me, someone needing me, someone loving me, or at least my body. But because I could talk to no one about bleeding and how it arose me, and because my father no longer wanted me during that time, I took the loneliness that surrounded me as punishment. In my solitude, I found awe, joy in this nature of my body, this secret rite of passage who no one had control of, not even myself. I wish I could talk to someone. I wish I could cry on someone, laugh with someone. Deep inside my heart, I exactly know who that someone is. I wish I can talk to someone. Someone who I call Mom.
We're almost at the tail end of the play, and Yoni Ki Baat, Vagina Talks. You heard about 9 of the stories, and now it is the 10th one. And those folks who work in information technology, it's the SDLC, Software Development Life Cycle. You all know? You all know. So it's a life cycle of a yoni, of a vagina. It's my story. I'll have to tell you that. From when will I start? Okay, yeah, I was 11, I think 12 probably. I was going to school, and suddenly, you know, my stomach had a bad cramp. I think my mother must have cooked some bad oatmeal. Really, it was hurting so bad. I went to the classroom, and suddenly I needed to go to the restroom because it seemed I had peed. Look, a 4th grader peed. Oh my God, this is so embarrassing. I went to the restroom and I saw blood. There, yes. No, I didn't hurt myself. There was nothing cut. It wasn't paining. But the blood is coming out. I got so scared. I just took a roll of toilet paper and stuck it there. You see, when I was growing up, you learn things the way of learning it, the Jungle Book way, okay? Anyway, I went to my classroom and each period I went to the restroom and changed the toilet paper. What's going on? Is God punishing me? But I have been a good girl. I'm a good daughter to my parents. Except, you know what? There's a boy in the front row. He's kind of cute. I like him. Is God punishing me for that? No, banish the thoughts. No, I don't like him anymore. I went to my house and I was really scared. And I rushed to my room. My mother sensed something. She said, Pam, come here. Mother, I have to tell you something. I think I'm getting blood there. Surprising, Mother didn't shout at me or yell at me. She said, you are getting old, you are becoming big, no problem. Here, take this bag of pads and use it. Pads? They look like the diapers my 4-month-old cousin used to wear. Oh my God, and you walk like that. Oh. Gross, gross, gross. It was so gross. Why? And Mother, but I have done nothing. Why is this happening to me? I have been a good girl. I have been good in studies. I have been getting good grades. It happens, beta. It happens to all girls. It happens to me, to grandma, to the gardener's wife, to the cook, your aunt, everyone. Then I said, you didn't say grandma does not have that? No, beta, because she's 65. How I wish I was 65 then. Then my mother said, don't go yet, I have to talk to you. I said, yes, mother, please, what is it? Now that you're growing up, you're becoming a teenager, listen to some rules. Don't jump. Don't wear short skirts. Don't run and jump with boys. And for heaven's sake, never say that you've got your periods. Okay, mother, but what do I say? You're a good girl. So just say Aunt Mansa has come or Madame Mansa has come. But don't say you are menstruating. And yes, don't you jump, you girl. You have to take care of your BBGs. BBGs? Yes, your mademoiselle, stupid girl. Auntie G's, BBGs. Madame, mademoiselle. I was supposed to take care of them. Why? Because I was a female. I was a young 12-year-old girl. Oh my God, so much work, so painful, right? The days went by, I tried to adjust to that 5-day thing. And I was growing up, I was in 10th grade. And you know, I really loved biology. It was my most interesting subject. And we were learning about reproduction. How exciting to know the world of your body. And then I heard my aunts came in, Aunt Meera, Aunt Dia, and my grandmother. And they were talking in the other room. My Aunt Meera said, thank God for those 5 days, I don't have to do it. My other aunt said, oh, if I don't do it, I cannot even sleep. And then my mother started to say something. I said, what are they talking about? It? S-E-X. I got really excited and I went there and said, Aunt Meera, you do it with Uncle Peter every night? My grandmother gave me the biggest smack. You're a good girl, good family. Is this how you speak? You speak of S-E-X. How could you? But grandma, that's a biology book. That's what it says. This is what happens. Go, rinse your mouth with Listerine. Bad thoughts should not come to you. Hello. My grandmother has got 8 children. Imagine, 8. And 8 children, again, I know biology, I know maths. 8 times the probability of an egg meeting a sperm, at least 10 times. So 8 times 10, 80 times. She does 80 times. Her daughters do it. I'm sure my mother does it because I wouldn't have come. And she tells me, don't think about it. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Oh my God, what do I do? But anyway, I progressed, my yoni progressed. My yoni gave me a lot over the years. Acne, cramps, periods, all these embarrassments, and 2 beautiful daughters. 2 years ago, I turned 45, and suddenly I noticed that my weight is increasing. From size 8, I have gone to size 12. I haven't changed my lifestyle. I've been eating the same. I went to my doc and said, hey doc, what's going on? She said, you've been hating your Aunt Mansa and your Madame Mansa so much. She's going. Be happy. You are going through menopause. Oh my God. So did I forget her? I have been cursing her so much that she's gone, and I'm kind of missing her. Really, I used to miss her. She left, or as she was leaving, she didn't leave alone. The different cramps going into my body, hot flashes, inability to sleep, my mood swings. This is what Madame Mansa was giving me. She said, okay, I'm going, you've been cursing me for what, 30 plus years, no, sorry, 40 plus years, so get all of this. And wait, not yet done. And she gave me menopause. Do you know what it is? All the fat from your body starts accumulating here. Here. So yes, menopause gives you the gift of, not a pot of gold would have been nice, a menopause. And I said, no. Hey, yoni, vagina, you have given me a lot. But no, not menopause, no. And then I said, I accepted everything with open hearts. Not this, I'm going to fight you. And you know what I did? I started taking care of myself. Because my yoni challenged me. I started to run. I started to being more active. I started taking care of myself first. And then, I have to show you. I ran the half marathon and the full marathon. So, my yoni, I'm really thankful for my yoni, for my vagina, for all that it has given me with open arms, giving me messages all the time. So here it is. We told you so many stories, stories of empowerment. It's you woman, who has to take care of it. And yes, our dear brethren, we all have to take care of each other to empower ourselves. I do sincerely hope you've liked the program and the play so far. It's an Ekjut production. Our Ekjut production has the next one in Chicago on the 14th and 15th of May. You're all cordially invited to come and see a murder mystery play. And before I conclude the program, I would like to thank everyone, Janet Tripp, Linda, Renee, Reverend Fren Jones, the organizations who supported us, sponsored us, Divya Maya, the performing group, and Divya also has a message for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to say thank you so much, Pramila Aunty, for giving us this opportunity to be a part of this amazing production. This was really, really powerful, and I'm sure everybody is going home with a message. Just to switch gears, I just wanted to put a plug in here, sorry guys. We are having a exhibit at Minnesota Historical Society called Beyond Bollywood. I'm sure Hashim is going to talk about that. I don't know. But we are having a show. Bollywood Dance Scene is a nonprofit organization, and we are always like partnering with other nonprofits and other organizations to, bring about awareness and social justice messages through dance. And then one of our show is Spicy Masala Chai, and we're going to perform that tomorrow at 2 p.m. at Minnesota Historical Society. So if you have nothing going on tomorrow, and if you haven't watched our show, please come and support Bollywood dance scene. And thank you so much again for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you, Divya. Thank you, Divya. So thank you all. Thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate that. And we at IAM are really honored and privileged to be able to work with Mayflower Church Foundation to put this program together. And I'd like to briefly start by saying when we started on this journey last year, we were thinking about our goals for what we want to do this year. And we came with 2 goals that we want to accomplish this year. And one was women empowerment, and the other one was youth leadership. And I got a call from Linda back, maybe it was February, and when she talked about this program, I said, we definitely want to do it. And she was asking us if there is any organization that is that we can support and fundraise for. And I had been working with Seva for 2 years now, and know Raj Auntie, the work she does in the community, and she said, easy, we'll fundraise for Raj Auntie, and here we are. So really very happy to be here. And I'd like to thank the audience. I know there are a lot of choices, but you people choose to come here and attend the show. I know there's 3 other events that are going on tonight from the Indian community that's organizing, but you guys came here. We really appreciate that. I also like to thank Ranj for single-handedly leading this effort. I asked her, hey, can you help me out and can you help lead this? And we've had weekly calls, and she's done an awesome job. I'd like to thank Pramila and the group for coming here. I know driving from Chicago, I know you guys are going back tomorrow, and you know, that shows the commitment that you guys have for this cause. Really appreciate that. Mayflower Foundation again for giving us this sanctuary to host this event. A beautiful sanctuary and a beautiful day to be here. So really appreciate that. And before we go, we do have a token of appreciation. Nash, if you can come on the stage. Rajanti, I'd like to invite you as well. We like to give this small token of appreciation to Ekjut production. We also like to thank once again Mayflower Foundation and Linda, Janet, Renee, Kari, and the Women's Spirituality Group for giving us their space and letting us host the event over here. Thank you so much, and we do have a token of appreciation for that. Linda, I'd like to invite you to
buy some red.
And one last shout out to all the IAM board members who are here today to help support this cause. I'll request them to please stand up. I know there are a few board members behind. Yeah, right there, Nikhil. IAM board. Surya, stand up, man. Can't see in the light, so thank you. Thank you so much.
I just have one more line to say.
I'd like to thank Seva volunteers that are here. If you want to stand up, please, our volunteers. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And last, once again, plug in for Divya's Bollywood dance scene. They're again performing tomorrow. Beyond Bollywood, a lot of effort has gone into putting the exhibit at the Minnesota Historical Society. And Beyond Bollywood is going to be there at 2 p.m. So do come to the exhibit.
Thank you so much, audiences, and a big round of applause to this wonderful cast.